Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. We need to quickly do a little bit of correction on the basis of protocol. We have a couple of our guests that are still on their way. And so in order not to goof, we're just going to recognize all the guests that are here present. So ladies and gentlemen, and of course, as much as possible, while we're recognizing our special guests, I would like for our special guests to also stand up for recognition as we appreciate them. Now, a little bit of housekeeping before we continue. If you need to use the restroom, it is to the right of the hall, just behind this partition. That's one. Number two, I'm standing up here and I'm holding the mic with one hand. It means that my second hand would not perform well. If not, I'll do all the clapping myself. So that's where I need you to come in. Please, as soon as I call anyone's name or we're recognizing anyone, please jam your hands together as much as you can. I want the sound to make the person feel appreciated. Thank you very much. All right, please, ladies and gentlemen, help me to recognize the presence of the senator representing the Lagos East Senatorial District, who is also our special guest of honor, Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, who is ably represented by Mr. Deji Abisola, the Chief Impact Officer, SAIL Empowerment Foundations. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. This is a fantastic round of applause. Thank you very much. I'd also like to recognize the presence of Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, that's the Lagos State, who is also a special guest, Mr. Abiodun Ogunleye. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. I have here, give me a second, please. Mr. Musa, can you please confirm something for me? I'd also like to recognize here the presence of the Director General of the LCCI. She is somebody who naturally you would not see her stress herself too much trying to be in front, but she's somebody who assiduously works behind the scene to ensure that things move according to plan. So ladies and gentlemen, the same way I needed your hands a couple of seconds ago, I'll need you to put your hands together to recognize Dr. Chinyere Almona, FCA, the Director General of SCCI. Lovely to see you, ma'am. DJ. Please put your hands together for the founder and CEO of AfriPower, Mr. Srinivas Pila. Am I correct, sir? Thank you very much for coming. I am pleased to recognize the presence of the Senior VP, Customer and Partner Success, Energy Solar, Mrs. Oghale Araiworai. Am I correct? Thank you very much. I'd like you to please also make welcome Mr. Chigozie Nweke, Eze, the CEO, Integrated Africa Power. Is he here yet? Okay. And of course, I am pleased to recognize the chairperson, WEOG, Future Energy, Renewables and Climate Action Committee, Mrs. Toyin Yusuf. It's very lovely to see you here, ma'am. We'll be moving straight to the first panel session this morning because we're waiting for a couple of people, and so I'd like for us to move the program along. So please, if we can start making arrangements for the seats to come in here so that we can just start in earnest. For events like this sometimes, and considering the fact that we all know how Lagos can be sometimes. For instance, yesterday, I was on the road by 6:40, trying to get here by 8. I didn't get here till 9 because, unpredictable Lagos roads. So for that reason, we're just going to move things along to make it, easy and fast for us. So as other guests arrive, I would recognize them again, and of course would move to all the sessions that we have for today. But I can assure you that it's going to be a fantastic event, considering the fact that we would also be celebrating proper the 10th anniversary of Ictel Expo. That said, I'd like to, Mr. Musa, the panel session that we're about to take right now is on energy. And the topic is integrating multiple renewable energy sources to optimize energy generation and grid stability. Thank you. And to moderate that session, we have the chairperson of the WEOG, Future Energy, Renewables and Climate Action Committee, Mrs. Toyin Yusuf. Please come up stage, ma'am. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, till she gets here. Ma'am, the staircase is on the other side. I'd like to quickly call on the panelists for this session. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I bring up stage the team lead, Power and New Energies, Tetracore Energy Group, an advocate for sustainable energy practices, Mr. Abdullahim Adamu, who is a round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. He's trained as a geologist. He has over 5 years' experience in developing energy projects across Nigeria. He has been a key part of the team at Tetracore Group and has seen the company grow their downstream natural gas distribution portfolio to over 500 MMSCFD. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Adamu. Another panelist that we have this morning, I hope you help me pronounce your name right. So let me start with, I will get it. I want you to teach me. I am very big on pronouncing people's names correctly because I won't have anyone pronounce my name wrongly. So I have Mrs. Ogale. Then the second one, Ariha Woharai. Oh my goodness. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for the Senior Vice President of Customer and Partner Success at Energy, Nigeria's leading renewable energy brand with 12 years of strategic leadership experience in the FMCG industry. She has built an excellent track record of delivering business results at Procter & Gamble in India, the Middle East, and Africa. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Please have your seat. And of course, we have one more panelist for this session. Ladies and gentlemen, the next person I'm bringing up on this panel to talk about energy is the founder and CEO of AfriPower, Mr. Srinivas Pila, a visionary entrepreneur. A round of applause, please, as I call their names. Thank you. A visionary entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of AfriPower, a leading provider of innovative power backup solutions in Nigeria. He has a passion for sustainable energy and a commitment to empowering communities. He has led AfriPower to become Nigeria's most preferred brand in the power backup solutions industry. You're welcome, sir. Can I have microphones, please? Thank you. Can we have two more? Here, ma'am. Are you bringing more mics? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, for our first panel session of the day, please put your hands together for the moderator and the panelists as I take a step back.
For 2024, and this is a landmark one as the 10th edition by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Again, my name is Toyin Yusuf. I'm the Future Energy, Renewable and Climate Action Committee Chairperson for Women in Energy, Oil and Gas. That is the WEOG. So we are here today for a very critical aspect of, a very critical sector in Nigeria, and that is our energy sector. And we all know that energy is the golden thread to our nation's development, even to individual and social and also our environmental development. So for today's session, I'll urge our audience to note their questions as the panelists take their turn to tell us their thoughts, their strategies, and best way forward to today's discourse. So we'll open the floor to our audience, and at the end of the panel session for Q&A, but let's start with our first question, and the first question will go to Mr. Srinivas Pila, and that is about integrating renewable sources requires modifications to the grid infrastructure to accommodate bidirectional power flow. We need to manage voltage fluctuations and ensure grid stability. There is need to know the common and viable approaches to achieving this. So, Mr. Srinivas Pillai, kindly share your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Madam Twain. It's a very interesting topic and very relevant to Nigeria. The first and foremost thing we should have for this is we should have an advanced weather monitoring system. Basically what happens is, when we are using renewable energy and solar panels, and basically when there is good sun and how much we can capture the sun energy and store the solar energy. We should monitor the weather and accordingly, because grid, to integrate with the grid the solar energy, it is a very complicated process. You cannot just have the energy and integrate with it. So you have to basically store it properly and align the grid supply with the solar energy. That is first and foremost thing we need to take care while integrating the grid and the one of the renewable energy sector.
Thank you very much, Mr. Srinivas. And I'll move to Ms. Gale. Please give us your thoughts on that same question.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Wayne. So that's actually quite important, right? Currently now, in terms of energy generating, we are not generating enough energy for the entire country. And I mean, we are blessed with renewable sources, and it's time that we start making use of it. And it's something that actually the government is already looking at. If you look at the Electricity Act of 2023, you will see that there's already talk of how to integrate renewable energy into the existing grid. But we know that there are challenges with this, so how do we manage this? The first, when you talk about bi-directional flow of energy, they are talking about when individuals who are generating their own energy from solar panels on their roof, if they generate more energy that they can use, how does that energy flow into the grid? The first thing we need to think about is net metering, or what we call smart metering. That allows you to measure the energy that is going from their solar panels to the grid and the energy that they are using. So that would help us to net off. That's the first. The second is voltage fluctuations, right? We know that when you're generating energy from solar, from any of the renewable ones, but I think solar is the most popular one we can think of, right? There are always interdependencies, right? And there are fluctuations. So you need voltage, you need to manage voltage control measures that can manage the voltage coming from those energy before they are put into the grid. And if we look at our current structure, there will be need to upgrade our current grid structure, right? It can't sit on the grid structure that we have. I don't think that it's smart enough. So we'll need to look at overhauling the grid structure so that we can put all that in. And I think that's where technology will play a great role in, because smart metering, I mean, the name smart already tells us that technology is featured there. So I think those are some of the things that we can look at that can help us to integrate renewable energy into the grid.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from Mr. Abdul Halim Adam.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to start from the grid itself. So first of all, we have renewables already integrated. Most time when we talk about renewables, people only talk about solar. So we've had renewables since 1968. The Kainji Dam is already on the grid, supplying the grid. So we should then look about the grid performance itself. This grid we want to tie into. What's the performance? So from next last report, we still have ATCRC as high as 36.3%. Of that 36.3, technical losses is around 19%. So you then start asking yourself, is this grid resilient enough for us to actually put in our renewable sources. I would also toe the line of Mr. Srinivas. So one of the question asked, what are the viable options? So Yemisi, in our introductory speech, spoke about where we are coming from and where we've been rather, and where we are going. The good thing is that we are not at ground zero. We are not at ground zero. We've achieved some level of integration already. So for solar, because the problem with solar is essentially the storage. So one of the ways to actually be able to have solar integrated is to have energy battery storage systems. But then again, it then raises the question of how much would our electricity come to us, because if I'm bringing in energy storage, means my tariff needs to go high. We would also look at maybe mini grids as well, isolated or interconnected. We then partition these grids, have mini discos in discos, just to use that word, and then they are not able to check which of these, in the entire grid system, all the operators know where you have challenges within a small area, and then the operators there can be able to address those technical issues. Those are my thoughts around the viable options.
Thank you very much. We've listened to various viable options from our panelists, and one thing that is that resonates all through is the fact that we need to have a smart energy system. A smart energy system that can accommodate generation from all sources, such that Nigeria can take the best opportunity that we have in energy mix, because Nigeria has all forms of energy sources, opportunity for energy sources in various aspects, renewable, even the fossil fuel, all forms. We have the wind, we have solar, we have hydro. Nigeria is blessed, so blessed in all of this, but we need a smart energy system to be able, for our grid stability and to have more energy system. Okay, so moving to the next question, and I want Ms. Ogale to please start with that. So our next question is, there are several challenges in integrating multiple renewable energy sources, such as intermittency and variability, grid compatibility, energy storage, transmission and distribution challenges, reliability and grid resilience. The question is, what are the possible long-term and short-term solutions to these challenges?
Okay, so if we look at like what he mentioned, so currently now we have different sources of energy, right? We have the fossil fuels, we have hydro energy, right? And I know that there are plans in the works to have a 200 megawatt solar farm sometime in the future as another energy generating source. If we look at these different sources, they all have their challenges. So if you look at fossil fuels, while they are consistent, we are looking at the harmful effects to the environment. So the ideal position would be to reduce that. And an ideal position for any country will be, what is the right energy mix to have, right? In as much as we want to reduce fossil fuels, we have to do that gradually so that the industry, our infrastructure doesn't suffer. So the optimal position is, what is the mix? If we look at solar, solar has its challenges. Why? Solar energy is only available for 8 hours in the day. I think 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. As much as you generate, there is a limit to how much you can generate. You can store it and then use, and use as you can. Then there's hydro, right? Those also have their fluctuations. Whenever there's a drought, there will be a reduction in the output from hydroelectricity. So how do we look at this? When you look at your energy mix, you have to see, how do I optimize from the different sources? How do I optimize from renewable? Do you get? And that's where storage comes in. So what you get, you store it so that you can send it out in a stable capacity. So that's where transmission comes in. If you're looking at solar, solar has its peaks during the day, it has its low points during the day. So it's best to store it so that you can send it out at an even flow that the grid can accommodate it. right? And obviously when you are transmitting energy, it has to be transmitted at a certain voltage. So that's where storage comes in. The same thing for hydro. We also understand our weather patterns, and we can anticipate when there's going to be a drought. So we can have hydro energy at higher times in the year, and then anticipate that we would have lower hydro energy when there's going to be a drought. And then at times when the solar is not giving us enough and hydro is not giving us enough, then we can back up with our fossil fuels. That way we have the right energy mix for the economy without avoiding, disruptions to people's life, to the industry and the country at large.
Thank you very much. And I'll move to Mr. Abdul Halim.
Okay, so the question is, what are the short-term and long-term plans for integrating renewable energies? So since we are talking about something for long-term, we have to be very holistic about it. So my very first contribution to that will be that all players in the grid network should first of all do a proper technical due diligence. And the discos, I know I've seen a lot of discos say, oh, I have 1,000 distribution transformers, I have 11,000 kilometers of distribution lines. Now, in that 11,000 kilometers of lines and transformers, how many of them are actually active? What's the utilization rate? So most times, I would want to do a project, maybe tie it to a disco. There's a transformer there, 150 MVA, and it's already overloaded. You understand? So TCN also, they have to do that. Thankfully, I believe they've done that, and that is why the PPI then came about. So that's the second one now, government intervention. These discos, they've come out with their problems already. This is where we have challenges. Now, government have been able to identify some of these challenges, and they are actually addressing it through the PPI. They are rehabilitating transmission lines, distribution lines, substations, and transformers as well. And they intend to move us from 7 to 25 gigawatts. That's ongoing. Now, the government can't do it alone. Their projects are typically slow. So last week, most of the players in the NESI were at Abuja, attending a summit organized by NERC, and it was on the accelerated scale-up of a DER project. Now, what they've done is that they brought in the regulators, project developers, discos, and even financiers to that summit. And they said, okay, discos, tell us areas where you need intervention. And you have developers here, you have financiers here. Tell us areas where you need interventions. And all the discos came up with brochures that says, for example, AKDC in Elemoro, Eleko axis, there's a feeder I have that is that needs rehabilitation. Can any developer come and develop it, and then we do a franchising area? So that's the third one. So first of all, know what the problem is. Government has done its part. Private sector players have done their part. Now you then bring in technology, and I'll class technology and government regulations as long term, because you cannot really enforce something on people if you've not given them all it requires for them to operate. So technology. So now we've been able to address the technical challenges on the grid. The government has done its part. Private players have done their part. You didn't bring in technology. I want to see every kilowatt that enters. I want to see every kilowatt that enters my system, like at what voltage is it entering? At what frequency is it entering? The guys off-taking, what are you off-taking? Are you supposed to off-take X amount, or you are doing more? And then once that is in place, the last one will then be enforcing the grid code. Since we've been able to provide all of this, if anybody is injecting energy into the grid at a frequency or at a voltage that is unacceptable, that person is penalized. If anybody is off-taking from the grid at a frequency or at a voltage level that is not within the regulatory permits, that person is penalized. So I think if you follow all of this step by step, the DD, government intervention, private sector players intervention, integration of technology, as well as enforcement of regulation, I'm sure would have a very stable and resilient grid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Halim Adamu. And to Mr. Sriniva.
Thank you, madam. Basically, some of the important points which you mentioned is grid compatibility and energy storage. So as far as energy storage is concerned, basically we have to look for new technologies. Currently, most of the players are using like sealed maintenance free batteries and even the tubular batteries to store the energy. But going forward, if you are seeing short term, every government or any private sector should have a budget for a short term plan and a long term plan. In short term, they can think of immediately there is a availability of lithium batteries. That is the new technology, and they are available in the market. So that is the plan one can do for a period of like we are in 2024 to 2034, maybe 10 years plan. The short-term plan we can focus on storage of energy through lithium batteries, because that is a new technology and it is being able to give good backup time. And going forward, we should look for long-term plan. We should look for better technology than lithium. So there is like air compressed gas, hydrogen fuel cells. These are the new technologies which are coming in the storage, new storage technologies. So that is a long-term plan which a government can plan. Apart from that, as far as grid is concerned, you know, we have to continuously upgrade the grid supply. The government has to take a lot of steps to improve the internal infrastructure for the grid supply. So there also they can look into the short-term and the long-term plans and plan accordingly. Because integrating renewable energy with grid is a very complex process. So we should have a proper budget for the short-term and proper budget for the long-term. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. We've all heard the short-term and long-term solutions as proposed by our panelists. We can see that for the long-term solution, which is the best for us, we need to be holistic about it. And the opportunities are there anyway. Technology is growing. And in terms of short-term, also long-term, the energy storage system is there for us to save the intermittency of certain sources of energy, like solar energy, like wind energy. Having the right mix too will work best for us. For example, in Nigeria government declared gas as our energy, as our transition fuel. So we are, with the decade of gas, all of the opportunities around the decade of gas, we can bring all of these opportunities together for a long-term and our short-term solutions. Okay, now we move straight into the third question. As we all know, the integration of renewable energy sources into power system is a crucial step towards achieving a sustainable and low-carbon energy future. While challenges exist, ongoing technological advancement coupled with strategic planning and investments are gradually overcoming these obstacles. The transformation of power system to accommodate renewable energy not only benefits the environment, but also contributes to increase energy security and resilience. What is your perspective on this, Mr. Halim Adamu?
Okay, that's a very interesting one, because I hear you say sustainability, and I also hear you say energy security in one sentence. So for me, energy transition is, there is a no one size fits all. So I'm trying to be very careful with the definition that is out there. If I transition from coal to natural gas, and you transition from natural gas to solar, for example, people would say you've transitioned, and people would say I am still transitioning. Whereas the impact of what I have done, the environmental impact or sustainability I have done and what you have done, I have done more for the environment for transitioning from coal to natural gas, while you take all the accolades because you are now in solar. Because coal itself, the amount of carbon it emits pounds per MMBTU is around 228, and so you said low carbon. So there's a bit of tolerance for natural gas. So that being said, you spoke about power system. For any power system to have an ideal energy mix balance, it has to satisfy three criteria. There has to be energy security, energy sustainability. Okay, energy security, have available power for now, and sustainability, which then looking at the impact it has on the climate, and energy affordability, which is then universal access. Or our reality today in Nigeria is that we are still battling with energy security. If you ask most of the people that have installed solar rooftops on their homes today, were you really thinking about the climate impact, or you were just looking for 24 hours electricity? A lot of them would tell you that they are looking for 24 hours electricity and not the impact it has on the environment. So for me, I would say, thank God you mentioned a decade of gas. I would have been accused that I am a gas person. So the decade of gas is here. On next report, 27 of the grid-tied power plants, they have a nameplate capacity of 12.6 gigawatts. We only had 4.2 in the last quarter available. So there is still excess capacity that we still need to build that is available right now. We are not talking of bringing in these new technologies yet. What is available? Can we even make it work? When Nigeria is now energy secured, when all of us have 24 hours electricity, we should then start sustainability. I understand the importance of sustainability. I am not putting it aside. In fact, in the next summit, discos have been mandated to procure, it was a supplementary order on MITO 2024. They've been mandated to procure 10% of their load from embedded generation, and 50% of that 10% should be from renewables. So yes, there's a place for renewables, but our reality today is that, unfortunately, we are still in energy security. When we then get to energy sustainability, where we storages and technology might be very expensive, might be able to afford it, and then energy affordability. Interestingly, if the guys on the other side, they've seen this. In February this year, Germany commenced plans to finance one of the biggest gas expansion projects in the world. But then they had a caveat. Just to sound friendly, they said, provided the developers agree to switch to hydrogen in the future. You see how they've couched it. But they understand that there has to be security first. It is not energy transition versus energy security. It is energy security first. So I would say let us ramp up what we have first before we move to what we don't have. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And to you?
Yeah, thank you, madam. Basically, when we incorporate the renewable energy sources into the grid system, there are lots of benefits. First and foremost is the environmental benefit, where the CO2 gases, reducing the CO2 gases, it will help the humankind. That is one of the biggest advantage of implementing the renewables energy systems into the grid supply. So the dependence, secondly, we need to look into the energy mix, the dependence on coal, the dependence on oil. We need to reduce going forward, because those are going to be the scarce elements on the earth. So as we increase the renewable energy resources, the dependence on oil, gas or coal and hydro will reduce. So that is going forward, that is what we have to look into. So that is what I want to. Thank you, madam.
So I think I've heard from both of my panelists, and I do agree with both of you, right? There is no separating energy security with sustainability, right? And energy, and then you also have energy access, and then you also have energy reliability. And he is right. You know, if you do a poll for a lot of people that have solar energy in their homes or in their offices, the initial case for it would be energy availability, or let's say energy reliability 24 hours. And now with the rising cost of fuel and diesel, and even the band A tariff, for them it's cost saving. But nevertheless, there's no reason why we can't do both, right? Like he mentioned, currently now, I don't think generating energy is our problem, right? We know that we have the capacity, and we have issues with transmission, and we have the issues with distribution. So while we fix that, there is no reason why we can't do both. The world is moving forward, and we know the advantages of introducing renewable energy into the mix. So there's no reason why we can't do both. I do understand that obviously transitioning from coal to gas has its benefits. And again, like I mentioned before, there's no point transitioning fully into renewable energy if it's going to have a negative effect on the lives of people, on industry and the economy. So that is why there's a need to have the right mix, and there's a need to have a plan and a progression and a plan that you follow. Right? We fix the issues with our transmission and our distribution. And while we work on that, on the other side, we say, okay, how can we develop as we are growing? Because right now, we know that only 60% of the population is on the grid. 40% of the population is not on the grid. So how do we serve those? Right? That's where we start to look at renewable. And then we can build the infrastructure around renewable that can carry it, and then we can now think of integrating that into the grid. So even when we're generating at full capacity, we would not be able to cover the full population. So while we fix generating at full capacity and serve the the population that is on the grid, while we're thinking about the population that is off grid, then we can look at renewable for them, and then we can start to transition. And ultimately, it's about having the right mix and what is best for the economy, what is best for the people, you know, what is best for everyone. So I won't be for 100% move into renewable if it's going to have negative effect. So it's about finding the right mix. And there's a lot of work to do there. So that's my view on the topic.
Thank you very much. My panelists, you've been so wonderful at this discussion. So energy sustainability, energy security, energy resilience, we cannot do without, we cannot take one and leave the other at this point in Nigeria. So they must go hand in hand as we work towards energy security for Nigeria and the entire world. We must also work for energy sustainability. And when we talk about sustainable energy, as it is expected in SDG 7, it must be affordable. It must be available. There must be access to it. So availability, affordability, and all of that, and sustainability in terms of environmental, how friendly it is to the environment is key. And one good thing about Nigeria is this. We have all of the sources, the renewables, the fossil fuel. Even while the West is demonizing fossil fuel, which is our natural resources, like the women in energy, oil and gas, has taken it upon themselves now to promote to stop the demonization of our natural resources. And we are doing everything to ensure that our energy from all sources are done sustainably. That is why we're talking of decarbonization. The women in energy, oil and gas is even, we have earmarked September 3, and we are declaring September 3 as the World Decarbonization Day. So we take the awareness of decarbonization to everyone. You can process, we can do generation, exploration, distribution, everything around even our fossil fuel without carbon, with carbon sequestration, with carbon capturing, and all forms of technology that are available now. We can do so much without spoiling the environment. And at this point, before we move to our Q&A, I would like to hear from your final thoughts. Your final thought, just your final thoughts. You will still respond to questions, you know. So your final thoughts on our discussion today. I'll start from Mr. Striniva.
Yeah, the government and the private industry both should come together, because energy is such an important topic. It cannot be solved alone by the government, or it cannot be solved alone by the private sector. So there must be a joint venture for the overall benefit of the nation, that the federal government should join hands with private partners, so that, and vice versa, the private partners should also join hands with the government to take the projects very fast. Then only things will happen. If the government thinks they can do alone, it is not possible, and if the private partners think that they cannot do alone. So the joint venture between the private and the public sector is very key thing. Secondly, there should be a lot of incentives from the government side, so that, you know, there is an encouragement and motivation for the private sector to come forward and invest in the energy sector. Because without motivation, nothing moves. So I strongly feel that this is an area where the government should also work and come forward. If various financing schemes should be launched, like even those who are encouraging renewable energy business, government should give them some green bonds kind of facility. Apart from that, you have as private people, they can private people who are in this business, they can start the pay as you go, the financing scheme. So likewise, there are various financing schemes which can motivate the private partners to come into this field and invest, so that it can be helpful for building the nation very fast. And this is an area where the role of every person is important going forward. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Okay, so on this topic, I'll look at it from both sides, right? For our existing grid structure, I mean, talking about integrating renewable energy into the grid and all, I think for our existing grid structure, there is a lot of work that needs to go there. I think we should need to look at things like decentralizing the grid, automating it, and I know that that is capital intensive, but that should be our long-term plan. Right? I know it's capital intensive across the country and all, but that should be our long-term plan. Because like we mentioned already, we are not at generating capacity, and that's because of the current grid structure. If we can do that, then we can maximize our generating capacity, right? And then we can then think about, okay, how can we have more generating sources, because that's not our current issue. That's the first. I also agree with him as well in terms of the partnership. The government can't do it alone, the private sector can't do it alone. We need a combination of both, right? And even for investors to come in. So we need to look at things like feed-in tariffs, right, that allow investors to get their money back when they invest in renewable energy sources. We also need to look at the caps. I know right now we have caps for will I say IPPs that want to generate power. We need to review those caps, because if I'm coming in to invest in a business, I would say, okay, if this is my cap, this is the maximum I can make from this business. If it's running at 100%, it may not be attractive. So we need to look and review those caps, and we need to put policies in place. I know it's power, it's electricity, and the government needs to secure it, because I mean, if you can shut down an entire country via their electricity. So if they're going to review those caps, we need to have the right policies in place, the right protocols in place, so nobody takes advantage of that. But that would allow foreign investors to look at this and say, okay, this is an attractive investment and I can come in long term. And then when we look at the loan structures and things like that around people that are ready to invest, we need to look at good loan structures, long-term loan structures and co, that make them favorable for investors to come in. So I think, as always, I feel that we need to look at it on both sides, right? For our existing structure, we need to upgrade it. And for building additional capacity to get the entire country on the grid, we need to look at investors, we need to review the caps that we have on tariffs, we need to look at feed-in tariffs, and we also need to look at net metering, right? Because right now, a lot of people aren't going for solar, renewable energy, and I'll also go with solar because that's my industry, so I'm biased to it the way he's biased to gas, right? So most people look at solar. They can't. It's a bit expensive now. And it's capital intensive, but in foreign countries, one of the ways they sell it to people is net metering, right? You take from the grid, right? You give back to the grid, and then you net off. A lot of people right now today, they can only afford small capacity systems. So when the grid is on, they automatically switch back to the grid. But during the day, they are generating excess PV, their batteries are full, and that energy is just wasting. So another way to sell it is you can actually net off your energy, even if you have a small capacity system, by net off the energy that you spend. That will be a good way to sell solar to people, and that would also help in terms of the environment and the amount of energy that is being generated. So again, I think we need to look at this holistically, right, and just come up with a long-term plan across all the different areas.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay,
Abdulkadir.
so Srinavan and Ogali have spoken extensively on partnerships between government and private sector, as well as financing. So there's no need to repeat what they've said. I would only add that I'm just throwing it out there. So there's a lot of funding for projects. The problem we have here is that, okay, thank you. The problem we have here is that a lot of these companies are, should I say, not very prepared to actually receive some of this funding. So what I advise people to do, even if you open a solar company today, whenever you see any bid or any tender, please bid for it. When you bid for it, they will open their portals to you, and then you then see some of the requirements that they need that you don't have, and then you then build yourself over it. Whatever, if there's any project, even if they are doing a project in Saudi Arabia and Saudi Aramco is there, I will bid for it together with Saudi Aramco. Because what what that does for me is that when I see the requirements, oh, I know I don't have this. Do I need to go and sign a technical partnership with XYZ? I sign a technical partnership with this person. Do I need to put this in place? Is it a corporate governance structure that I have in my company? By the time you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bids, trust me, whenever you see bids coming up again, you'll be qualified to get those grants and those money that's available. So to end, I would say if we have a dirty cloth and we have the option of washing it or applying perfume, I think the best option to go is to wash it. Even if you put the most expensive perfume on it, you still feel very uncomfortable. So the grid is the cloth and integrating renewables is the perfume. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have been amazing. All of you have been amazing today. And from our discussion today, it's obvious that the aspect of having grid stability, having energy security, having enough of everything in terms of energy in Nigeria is everybody's concern. The government must encourage private investors, foreign investment. The business people have also learned, whether you're small, you are new, or you're just coming, bid, take the bid and get to know all of the requirements so that you can be prepared for the future. And for all of us, we also have one role or the other to play. Energy efficiency must be part of our culture from generation to distribution to utilization. And if you on your own, at home or at work, if you are an energy monster, if you waste energy, that means you are increasing the amount of energy that we need, and you are increasing you are stressing the capacity of our existing systems. So let's be energy efficient. Let's support energy stability, energy sustainability, energy security in all ways that we can. So moving forward, we are moving to the Q&A session, and the floor is open to our audience. Please keep your question simple, straightforward. Know the panelists that you are directing your question to. Any question from our audience?
Thank you so much. I know that today we're talking about renewable energy, and it's majorly because of the problems we had with traditional energy, fossil fuels and stuff like that. We also know that every technology, every improvement comes with its own gamut of problems. My question is for producers of renewable energy products, because I think those products should be recyclable. Is there end-to-end management of these products? Now you see solar panels, batteries everywhere. After selling, making your money, what next? Do you really manage that product end-to-end such that it does not constitute a nuisance to the environment at the end of the day? That's my question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Very good question. As we are into the business of renewable energy, this is a very important point. You know, we maybe import a product and sell in Nigeria. What happens to the after it is damaged? For example, battery. You understand? So it is causing more damage to the nature of the country where we are staying. You know, these lead acid batteries, when they are dumped somewhere, it is creating more harm. You must have enjoyed the renewable energy part, but after using it, what happens? So it's a very good question. So what is happening now of late, I would tell, since I'm in this industry, there are a lot of battery manufacturing plants have come up in Nigeria. So what they are trying to do is they are taking away the damaged batteries. They are using the lead smelting plants are there. They have their own lead smelting plants, and they purify the lead to almost like 98% and reuse that lead. So that, you know, what you are telling end to end is not only bringing the product to this country and dumping that, you know. So again, this reused lead is used to make new batteries. So that is a process. Earlier, what used to happen is this lead was being sent back to other countries. Like India was buying lead, the used lead from Nigeria, or many other countries were taking back the used lead. But now with the new battery factories coming up within Nigeria, the same lead is used within the country for manufacturing new batteries.
Okay, my own suggestion, madam, to the to LCCI is, I think there is no regulator yet, but I think there must be regulation around it, so that it's not left to, just like Mr. Pilar has just said, it's based on what you want to do. But I think there should be regulation around end-to-end management of all these devices. It must be regulated. It's something that is very, very important. It's very easy to say you pick them up, their company. I know the one that are lying fallow. I went to the dump site in Ojota for, not that I went, my people that I know, and some of the things they saw there were actually what you're talking about. So how come they didn't end up with this company picking them up? So if there's regulation, I think there must be something to be done about that.
Thank you very much. Okay, please, Mr.
Okay, so yeah, at the summit last week that I spoke about, that was hosted by NERC, there is actually a regulation coming up on battery storage. And the good thing was that NERC didn't just come up with a regulation and say, go and follow this. They brought everybody together, the developers, the users, the financiers, and they asked us, is this what you want? Should we come up with a regulation? There were actually 14 regulations that we expect to come up very soon from NERC. So they're actually working on it.
So thank you very much. So like he said, we have regulations, and the aspect of reuse, recycle, and all of that are also in place in the renewable energy sector. What I think we need to do more about is awareness, so that people are aware of how to dispose of these elements or all these components when they are no longer in use for a particular person. And I'm sure LCCI will, they are best at, pushing policies that will make the best for our environment. Okay, more questions. Okay.
Thank you, moderator. I think it's very interesting to listen to all of you and the deep knowledge about power. At the end of the day, people don't really bother where the power comes from. They want the benefit of power, whether it's renewable, fossil, or wherever it may come from. It is the benefit. But how do we find ourselves there? You said so. The power we are producing in Nigeria, in other words, the generation, are we using all? The answer is no. If we have all the what we are generating today at home, I think nearly 70–80% of our power problem will be solved. Therefore, we have to solve our problem as it is. In other words, what we are producing, how do we get it to our home, to all our appliances? That's our number one problem before we start asking for another solution. The second one is that when we don't get it there, what is sustainable? We look at the solar. You are looking at all renewable energy. 70% on the grid, 30 or 40% not on the grid. How do we get to them? The fastest way today may be for us to look at new solution to some of those old problems. And the new solution is renewable energy. I won't say you should have to take coal to those villages in order to give them power. Give them the clean power. Then another thing that the chamber have been promoting is what we call circular economy. It should make the waste productive in a way. When people know they will make money using the waste to produce something else. Therefore, this thing is not, don't let us look at policemen and offender in terms of regulation. Let's create opportunity, and from that opportunity, the opportunity will regulate the system. In other words, if the waste can be turned to wealth, people will go for it. At the end of the day, they will clean the environment. And what am I saying? The chamber has seen this in the last 4 years. We'll be working on what we call circular economy. What you think is waste here, it becomes a product for another person will get another product from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is our Vice President, Deputy President, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Engineer Kukpoluye. Did I get it right? Thank you very much. So, as we can see, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry is already taking the lead on circular economy, and all of our fare on waste management for the renewable energy components have been taken care of. Thank you, sir. Okay, any more questions or comments from our audience, please?
All right, good morning once again. And thank you very much for that session. I learned a lot. I would like to ask, there are a lot of young people out there that are very curious. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, my name is Peter. So there are a lot of young people today. Thank you very much for that session once again. I really learned a lot. A lot of young people today that are curious and desiring to explore and possibly engage, the renewable energy space. My first question is, what are the options to enter this space? How difficult the barriers to entry, operating in that space? That's one. Two, what's your take on empowering communities, especially the vulnerables? How are we including people that, are struggling to afford things around renewable energy resources and tools? So these are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay, Peter, thank you for your question. No, before you go, I wanted to clarify. When you said young people want to get into renewable, do you mean they want to use it or they want to get into the industry for employment?
Employment, businesses, and yes, the last part is using it.
Okay. So in terms of getting in terms of employment, there are different, there are different ways to go. You could be on the development side, you can be on the installation side. I mean, and there is a lot of collaboration right now between renewable energy and technology, right? So that's where some startups are coming in. We're talking about smart tech or clean tech for renewable energy. So there's a large spectrum if young people want to get in, right? So the options are endless, right? They just need to figure out what they're passionate about and where does it fit into, and do some education and see where they can fit into. Now, in terms of usage, again, there are a wide range of products. I think the good thing about renewable energy is it has a wide spectrum. You can have from the smallest products, which is like a 1 kVA system, all the way up to a 30, 50, even megawatt renewable energy systems. So, and there are a lot of companies now that understand that the cost to entry is high. So they offer, lease to own options. They offer pay as you go options, especially in the rural areas as well. I think even my company has a couple of small portable devices that you can own on a lease to own option. You can buy on a lease to own option, and then you can pay instrumentally until you're fully paid for it. So I mean, as renewable energy, we've looked at it 360 and we understand all the different barriers, and that's why there are different options for anyone who wants to come in, right? Like I said, you can buy outright, you can have lease to own, you can do pay as you go, depending on the capacity of system that you want, and will I say your pockets, your financial status.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So that will be our last question. And I'm using this opportunity to appreciate our panelists. Thank you so much. We have all learned so much from you. I learned too. And appreciating the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry for organizing this and creating this opportunity for everyone. Our president, Mr. Gabriel Idahosa, our senator representative, thank you, sir. All distinguished people around, we appreciate all of you and all our audience. Thank you for staying with us up till now. So moving forward, I look forward to having every one of us contributing to generation and stability of our energy system. Thank you.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. All right, very quickly, before our panelists and moderator return to their seats, can I please have our gracious host, the Vice President, LCI, and Chairman, Trade Promotion Board, Prince Abimbola Olashore, FCA, to please come up for plaque presentation. The first would be presented to Mr. Srinivas Pila, founder and CEO.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pila, and I really thank you for being a panelist on this program. So really appreciate all your comments and everything that you are doing. So congratulations.
The next. The next plaque is for the Senior VP, Customer and Partner Success, Energy Solar, Mrs. O'Halley.
All right, congratulations in being part of this panel. We were discussing with her on all the questions said. So again, thank you very much for being part of us. Thank you. Again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of this panel and discussing this very, very important topic on renewables. Your contribution was well noted. Thank you very much. You're welcome. I think my voice, okay. Thank you, Mrs. Yusuf, for moderating that panel. Obviously, your knowledge of the topic was well displayed. And again, I must congratulate you for all the work that you are doing in this whole space of renewable. And I thank you for your bravery in trying to promote the use of our fossil fuel. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yes, a group picture, please, before. Can I please have the president of the LCCI, Mr. Gabriel Idaosa, FCA, to come up, join the group pictures. I'd also like to invite Mr. Engineer Leye Kupolui, the deputy president of the LCCI, for the group picture. Can Mr. Deji Abisola, representing the senator, please also come up for the group picture, sir? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause for them, please. A round of applause. Come on. Thank you. While the panel session was going on, we have different people who walked in during the panel session. I'd like to recognize their presence. But before I do that, there is a house rule, or should I say, there's a little housekeeping. Seeing as I have two hands and one of them is very busy, I'll be using your hands today. So please, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for yourselves. That's too low for yourselves. All right? So please help me to honor everyone that comes up here today. Now, while the panel session was going on, the president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, please do not take it too far. Let's just leave it here. Thank you. The president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Gabriel Idos, FCA, walked in. You're welcome, sir. The deputy president also came in, Engineer Leye Kupolui. Lovely to see you again, sir. And then I can see some members of the Trade Promotion Board. Particularly, I can particularly see Mrs. Victoria Onofowokon Obadino. Oh, I had recognized him over and over. You were not here at the time. Lovely to see you, ma'am. All right, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we had a rallying call. We agreed on a rallying call. Can someone remind me what our rallying call was yesterday for Ictel 2024? What was our rallying call? This mic keeps fading. Can I? Thank you. 10 times the tech. Thank you. 10 times the tech, 10 times the expo. That's our rallying call. I'd like to also recognize the presence of other members of the Trade Promotion Board. Please just join me, clapping to honor them. Otumba Akimbo Akiolugbade. A round of applause, please. Hello? All right. Engineer Wale Bashir. And gentlemen. Mrs. Tola Bogwade FC. No. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen, for the technical crew. They need the encouragement. Thank you. Then Mr. Smith Osemeke. You're welcome, sir. I would like to recognize Mr. Gboyega Olabimbi Waninu. Mr. Abiodun Oladapo. Lovely to see you, sir. Mrs. Bola Belgore. Lovely to see you, ma'am. Of course, we have some of our panelists for the third panel session who also walked in during the previous panel session that we had. And I'd like you to please join me as I recognize the presence of Mrs. Busayo Balogun. I think she's here. Please stand up, ma. Let's see you. Let's see you. Thank you so much for coming. She's the head of corporate services at the Nigeria Internet Registration Association, NIRA. I also like to recognize the presence of the senior sales manager at RAC Center, Mr. Abiodun Soni. A round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I'd like to bring up to stage for a special demo session the Nigeria Internet Registration Association. And to give us that demo, to present that session, can I have Mrs. Abimbola Aderibigbe join me up here for that presentation? A round of applause, please. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. While she's going through our own presentation, I'd like to ask that the CEO of AfroShine should start getting ready for his own presentation. Yes?
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abimbola Aderibigbe, and I'm here to represent NIRA. NIRA is the Nigeria Internet Registration Association, the registry for .ng. And we'll be taking a special demo this morning, just taking you through what we do, how we do, and if you're not compliant, it's time for you to be compliant. Okay, so at NIRA, we manage the .ng domain. And the .ng domain is Nigeria's country code top-level domain, just like how you have .us for the United States, you have .ca for Canada, you have .za for South Africa. .ng is the one for Nigeria. And we are encouraging all businesses to adopt the use of .ng. If you are a Nigerian business and you're here and you're not using the .ng, you're wrong. Please. All right, so this is our page where we register domain names. So I'll take you through how you can register a .ng. So, but first of all, you can see that we have different zones. So in the .ng zone, we have .ng, we have .com.ng, we have .net.ng, we have .org.ng, .i.ng, .name.ng, which are all open. So these zones are open for people to register, companies, individuals, organizations. Now we have .edu, .school, .ng, .gov.ng, .mil.ng, .mobi.ng. Now these zones are closed, and the reason why they are closed is because for you to register a .edu.ng, we need to verify. So tertiary institutions, yes, tertiary institutions, we need to verify. So you need documentations. So you need to go through a process for you to register. So that's why they are closed. They are not just open to everybody. We need some certain credentials, certifications for us to register a .edu.ng, all the zones that are closed. Now, for you to register a .ng domain, you just go there. So this is register.ng. The page is register.ng. Anybody right now, you can do that. You just go to register.ng and you see this landing page. Now on the landing page, you see where you can put your name. So give us any name. So let's say you want to register Skyfly. So skyfly.ng, you search. Yeah, so you have .ng. If you want it, a .com.ng is for businesses, .edu is for school. You know, any one of these you can choose. So let's choose a .ng. Then you search. So when you search, it will tell you whether it's available or not. So you can see now, it says, congratulations, skyfly.ng is available. So you go to get it. So when you click on get it, you see these are the list of our accredited registrars. So these companies are certified and accredited to register your .ng. So you can choose. You can see that there are lots of them. So you can choose any one of them. So let's choose HostLag or WebMable. Anyone? So you can now follow their processes, go through all the process to acquire. So they offer additional services, or if you just want the domain, you see the price, you add it to the cart, and then you check out, you make payment, and then you have your .ng. Okay, so that's that for that. So if you want to register a .ng, I've taken you through the process. Then we also have our .ng statistics. This is our dashboard. And this is real-time statistics. Currently, we have the total domain names at 228,000 domains. Yeah, I'm projecting, actually. I'm projecting. We hope to get there. So this is what we have currently. And on our dashboard, you can see if you want to check the analysis for a month, like you want to see the domain registrations in a month, in a day, in a quarter, in a year, you can have all that statistics. And to round up this product demo, I would like to say that Nigeria was recently ranked the second in Africa, you know, with the domain names. And we hope that we're going to get to the first. We hope to be #1. So you can see that the process is very easy. It doesn't take you so long to register a .ng. So if you are a Nigerian business right here, right now, and you don't have a .ng, like I said earlier, you're wrong. And you can actually switch. If you're using a .com right now, you can switch to a .ng. We have our booth somewhere at the back there, with our registrars, our accredited registrars. They can take you through the process. If you want to switch from .com, if you want to switch from .org to .ng, you can do that. They will take you through the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for waiting. All right, can I have the CEO of AfroShine? Now, this is where the challenge is, pronouncing the name. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the CEO of AfroShine. When he gets here, he will teach me how to pronounce his name, because I have murdered names here this morning. A round of applause, please. Help me. Kindly teach me how to pronounce your name, sir. Bimam.
Be Mud.
Be mad.
Yes.
Oh, lovely to have you, sir. You're welcome.
Okay,
I'll go back and practice so that when you're done, I'll say it very well.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, all. I'm very delighted to present my company here. Well, I am the CEO of Afroshine Solutions. So we are into AI-driven app development. Okay, so we are system integrators of IT and IoT. So one of the big challenge in developing an IoT application is that to maintain an integration with the required hardware. And for that, actually, because your OEM of the hardware is sitting very far. So for that, we have developed certain bridges, okay, which connects to different OEM hardwares, okay, and that gives you a very common AI-based platform, and it is a no-code platform through which you can integrate it through anything, whatever the data from the hardware you want to take. Okay, so let me explain you with some of the examples with some of the products which we have developed. Although we are not a product driven company, we are actually into services. We developed apps, okay, but in the process of our services, we have developed some of the projects which we have implemented in Nigeria. Okay, we have developed some of the products. Okay, so go to the next one. Okay, so now this one, go back, please. Yes. So this one is a very in demand in Nigeria, because in Nigeria is a very safety, and everybody is very considerate about his safety. Okay, so there are different use cases here. So the use cases here in Nigeria or in Africa, you can say, are different than another continents. Okay, so edge AI based cameras, where we had to put a particular AI based program at the camera itself so that it can detect a particular. So here there are a lot of cameras which we developed, they were in demand, where we put AI functions to analyze the particular behavior of a person. Okay, so it can analyze up to 80% accurate for whatever the use case you give. Like, let us suppose a very common use case is that if there is a site, there is an engineering site, and somebody is there without PPE, the camera will recognize, not only recognize, but it will give you alarm. This is a very simple use case. But what if there is an incident of the person is trying to steal something, okay, or there is a shop and the person is trying to steal something or shoplifting. Okay, in that case, how do you analyze his facial expression and mark it as a suspect, okay, and alert it into the control room so that the security personnel there could know that, okay, this may be a suspect, at least between 60 to 70%. We have achieved our result up to 70% accurate in this case. Okay, so all have been developed here in these use cases based upon our Breeze platform with our OEM, and for this our OEM is Dahuwa Technologies here, which we have partnered with them, okay, for all our hardware needs. Next slide, please. Okay, so now another into monitoring solutions. Okay, we developed a vehicle tracking solution. Now here the challenge was, vehicle tracking is a very common platform where you can see where actually your vehicle is. Okay, but another challenge was that how to catch a fuel theft if actually your driver is actually trying to steal fuel or something like that. Okay, so for that we developed an algorithm based upon the manufacturer's parameter, which we embedded in the system. So without any fuel sensor, you will be able to check, okay, any extra fuel sensor or any extra hardware or any extra expense. Now through the software in your panel, in your mobile, you will be able to check that what is your fuel consumption. And in case you get an alarm, in case if there is any fuel, I will come to that, and you are free to ask questions also after this. I will show you some small demo of all this. So you will be able to check, okay, if there is any attempt of fuel theft or no into this one. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is same as we do fuel theft. Okay, I will show you a very useful use case of the personal tracking as well, because we do that personal tracking. Employee tracking is a part of it. Okay, but we will show you one use case next. Okay, this kids tracking is a part of the personal tracking. Okay, we will show you this one, how to track your kids, whether it is he is in school, is in classroom, or some. Go next. Okay, during this we integrated some state safety management system, state visitors management system. Like, let's suppose that you have you have an estate. Okay, then how to actually stop totally 100% any kind of trespassing. At the same time, if there is anybody trying to jump the perimeter or something and trying to create any vandalization effect or something, how to integrate all these things and get one centralized place, get all the kind of alarm at one centralized place. So that is what is a state safety management system. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, visitor management system inside the state also. So, okay, so that if there is any visitor, okay, so that there is no untoward person, okay, or any case of trespassing. Okay, so any visitor is coming to the gate, the security guard will scan him or ask him name, and your mobile will pop up with his picture, with all his detail. If you want to allow him, you can allow him, or you can deny, if you can deny, or you can leave a note for him. At the same time, okay, you can track, there is a special arrangement so that you can track the school bus, allow him in, you can monitor your daily staffs who are coming in, as well as you can monitor deliveries as well. Okay, and all this integrated with other things like CCTV cameras and the perimeter intrusion detection if somebody is trying to intrude into this one. Okay, go ahead. Okay, and another, this we integrated it with the corporates or also the state, one crisis management system, so that in the same app is integrated with emergency response system, so that if there is any kind of emergency, okay, it could, the alert could go to the team which would handle it, basically. Either it is a security or it's a fire or any other kind of incident. Okay, go ahead, please. Okay, other than this, we are also into, when security comes, this is all about asset security, this is all about human security. We are also into data security and the network security. For data security, we have various products. Now, like you have any domain, so we provide you the SSL and TSL certificates for your domain. Alert is our program developed by, like, in the whole network, if there is any kind of intrusion in the network, okay, from anywhere, any data cyber intrusion in the network, it will alert you. Or if any of the system is underperforming, you will get an alert. And this one, the top one which you see is a device, is a hardware lock device. Okay, like let us suppose that you have your Google account, where is like to understand, if you have your Google account or your Microsoft account, okay, and you are just right now logging in through your password in a soft way, okay. So now you, with this, you can actually integrate it with the hardware, okay, so that you can unlock it. Now, apart from the password, you will be needing this device plus your fingerprint to log into your log into your account, any cyber account. Go ahead. Okay. So, and after this, this is like whole infrastructure of our document management system, a secure document management system, where you can maintain a complete flow, your document flow, and you can give particular authorization, and this authorization you can integrate all the kinds of like security measures which we have shown you. Okay, so next. Okay, so we are also into, when it comes to the security, we are also into telecom solutions. Okay, so we do voice data, also integrated with the internet and all the kind of wireless solution. We integrate all these things all together, and like we call it a triple play. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so like this, one essence we put everywhere in all our solution is that this is the age, different age. This is the age of AI, and we take care that all the, whatever the solutions we provide, that should not be a burden on the corporate of a person who are using. Rather, it should work as a catalyst to your growth. Rather than putting, technology should not be a burden. It should be user friendly. Okay, and it should give you as many information, it should help you basically in your decision. It should serve you as a DSS, that is decision support system, that what to be done next. You should be able to decide it easily. And this we are doing it through AI. You will be delighted to know that in all this development, most of the means 10% contribution is of our team in India, and 90% contribution is indigenously developed here. And we have got it developed through all Nigerian bright students here by training them. Okay, thanks. Now I will show you, we showed you that one example of like the personal tracking. So one of the products which we developed, okay, for schools basically. Okay, can you play that, the next one? So it will give you a clear cut concept that actually how does it work. Please.
A safe child is of utmost importance for the bright future of any society. That is why our easy-to-implement solution is designed, which provides complete safety to children as its primary purpose. To understand better, let's take a look at a day in Thara's life and how she is at ease with the help of School Smart, and so are Thara's parents. Every day, before leaving to school, Thara's mother makes sure she wears her School Smart badge. Equipped with RFID sensors and monitored real-time by School Smart managers, the School Smart badge tracks every step of Thara, whether she is on the school bus, classroom, or even her school playground. And all the 7 modules built around the School Smart badge only help to enable the safety of Thara in a more robust manner. Comprehensive en route surveillance tells her parents the location of her school bus, and the School Smart manager can even monitor what's happening inside the bus, thanks to the cameras installed in the buses. Thara's mother gets appropriate alerts on her mobile. Now that she has reached school safely, she enters the school campus, where School Smart's Campus Solution Suite ensures absolute safety of Thara. There is no need for the teacher to take a roll call because that task has been assigned to School Smart's automated attendance marking system, and thus eliminating the outdated manual attendance registers. Now that it's lunchtime and Thara is playing with her best friends in the playground, School Smart manager and also teacher can monitor not just hers, but almost all students' movement with in-school zoning tool. Our parent and visitor management system makes sure that only school-approved visitors can enter after going through a quick but thorough check on their purpose of visit. With school time over, Thara is now back on the school bus, en route to her home. Thara's parents know that she will reach home faster because of the route optimization tool that plans the easiest and hassle-free bus route for the bus driver to follow. But since her mother is out on a small job and cannot pick up Thara, she uploads the photo of Thara's uncle in School Smart's Smart Pickup tool that authorizes him to pick her up. Thara reaches home safely, and her mother gets alerts in her mobile that Thara has alighted and picked up by her uncle, giving her the much-needed joy and peace of mind.
Tara's parents are happy and relaxed. AfroSheen Nigeria needs to make every parent of Nigeria free of worry from their kids' safety at school or the school bus. For more inquiries, contact us at AfroSheen.
Thank
or
you.
Email us at
Thank you. So this is all our about our products and the services. Okay, if you have any quick questions, I can answer you. Otherwise, we have our booth. Okay, we will be happy to entertain you there. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bimad Raj Saran. Good practice. That is the CEO of AfroShine, and he just gave us a short presentation. While he was speaking, a couple of persons walked into the hall. So please, ladies and gentlemen, join me as I recognize the following persons. Kindly put your hands together as I recognize the Vice President, LCCI, and Chairman, Public Affairs and Advocacy Committee, Sir Laddie Smith. I think I could see, yes. Lovely to see you again, sir. Thank you so much for being here. Also, while Mr. Bimad Raj was speaking, the representative of the CEO of the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, Ms. Adamma Isamade. She is the head legal enforcement and regulations of the NDPC, also walked in. Lovely to see you. A round of applause for her, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. Earlier on, we had to skip a couple of items on the list just to ensure that, we gave time for people to get here. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please, I need you to powerfully welcome Senator Adetokunbo Abiru of the Lagos East Senatorial District, who is our special guest of honor, and is being represented here today by Mr. Deji Abisola. Ladies and gentlemen, please, till he gets here, please keep clapping. Mr. Deji Abisola is the Chief Impact Officer, SAIL Empowerment Foundation, and he will be representing the special guest of honor, the Honorable Senator of the Lagos East Senatorial District this morning for a very special address at the Ictel Expo 2024, the 10th anniversary of Ictel. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Deji Abisola. A round of applause, please.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And I want to just say this, that I'm really impacted, been here since 10 a.m. It's been so wonderful, listening to a lot of things, especially around the solution coming to our power problem. And I believe it will be solved by God's grace. I am not the senator. And I want to, first of all, give his apology. He wanted to be here. He tried as much as possible to be here, but the state matter, they deserve urgency. He had to leave Lagos yesterday around 10 p.m. so that he can attend to what he has to do today. But he sent his paper to me, which I'm going to try as much as possible to read in verbatim the way he has written it, so that I can convey his heart desire about this great topic. He sent his regard to everyone, and like I said, he will have loved to be here. So let me just start this morning by appreciating everyone who have spoken before me. As I've been introduced, my name is Deji Abisola. I'm the Chief Impact Officer for SAIL Empowerment Foundation. It is a foundation that was co-founded by the distinguished Senator Adetokunbo Abiru and his lovely wife. And SAIL Empowerment Foundation owns the SAIL Innovation Lab in Ikorodu that is already impacting a lot of lives. I will talk about that during the paper. So permit me to just stand on all existing protocol as been laid here today. But I will also want to start by extending my heartfelt appreciation to the President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Gabriel Idahosa, FCA, and all ESCO members of the Lagos Chambers of Commerce and Industry, as well as the conference organizing committee, for inviting me to speak at this year's Ictel Expo themed New Tech, New Threat, and New Opportunities. There is no doubt that the selection of this theme is very apt and of utmost importance in this day and time, especially concerning the speed of technological evolution and the need for society to keep up with the stark reality of its impact. As I lend my voice to those of other wonderful presenters at this conference, I will narrow my conversation to discuss the topic, creating opportunities for technological innovation in a democratic environment. My presentation will therefore attempt to provide a framework for understanding how democratic environments can create and sustain opportunities for technological innovation. By examining key mechanisms and a couple of case studies, the presentation will attempt to offer insight into the dynamic relationship between democracy and technology, emphasizing the importance of inclusivity, ethical consideration, and proactive governance. The intersection of technology and democracy has never been more critical. As we stand at the cusp of unprecedented technological advancement, the theme, new tech, new threats, and new opportunity, invites a comprehensive exploration of how democratic environment can foster technological innovation. This paper aims to discuss these mechanisms through which democratic societies can create and sustain opportunities for technological innovation while navigating the associated threat. So I will talk about the relationship between democracy and technological innovation. When we talk about democratic principles and innovation, democracies are characterized by principles such as freedom of expression, the rule of law, and protection of intellectual property rights, all of which are conducive to innovation. The open exchange of ideas facilitated by democratic governance promotes creativity and collaboration, both of which are essential components of technological innovation. Additionally, democratic institutions often provide robust framework for the protection of intellectual property, encouraging investment in research and development. Inclusivity and participation. A democratic environment inherently values inclusivity and public participation. This inclusivity ensures that a diverse range of voices and perspectives contribute to the innovation process, leading to more holistic and widely applicable technological solutions. Public participation in policy making can help align technological advancement with societal need and ethical standard, fostering trust and acceptance. When we talk about mechanism for fostering technological innovation, we'll be talking about policies, regulation, and legislation. Creating a conducive policy environment is crucial for technological innovation. Government in democratic society should therefore aim to develop policies that encourage research and development, provide financial incentive, and protect intellectual property rights. Regulatory framework should be adaptive, ensuring they do not stifle innovation while protecting public interest. The parliament in a democratic setting also play a huge role in this regard, as it can strategically shape the technology and innovative environment using the instrumentalities of legislation. There are different examples of effective policies, especially when you look at research and development tax credit. That's one example. Offering tax credit incentive for companies who are investing in R&D can stimulate more innovation. With public-private partnership, in terms of collaboration between government and public sector, entities can leverage resources and expertise for technological advancement. Access to open data initiative will make government data accessible, which can spur innovation by providing raw materials for new technologies and application. Investing in education and workforce development is essential for sustaining technological innovation. Democratic government should focus on STEM, that is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education, vocational training, and lifelong learning opportunities to ensure a skilled workplace capable of driving and adapting to technological changes. Apart from that, building and maintaining robust technological infrastructure is critical, We have mentioned that when we spoke about power today. It's very, very critical. This includes high-speed internet, access to power, advanced research facilities, and innovation hubs. Public investment in these areas can lay the groundwork for private sector innovation, creating a synergistic effect. Small and medium-sized enterprises and startups are often at the forefront of technological innovation. Democracies should implement support and structures such as incubators, accelerators, and funding mechanisms to help these entities to thrive. Reducing bureaucratic barriers and providing access to capital are key factors in fostering an entrepreneurial ecosystem. So when we want to talk about navigating the threat that is inherent in this new age, you have to look at how do we handle cybersecurity. With the advent of new technologies, cybersecurity threats have become a significant concern. Democracies must prioritize the development of robust cybersecurity measures to protect sensitive data and infrastructure. This includes fostering international cooperation to address transnational cyber threats and investing in cybersecurity research and development. Another area that I want to touch is the area of ethical consideration. Technological advancement often raise ethical issues, from privacy concern to the potential for bias in artificial intelligence. Democratic society must engage in ongoing public discourse to address this concern, ensuring that technological innovation aligns with ethical standards and societal values. Emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and blockchain present unique challenges and opportunities. Democracies need to develop regulatory framework that balances innovation with protection of public interest. This involves ongoing dialogue between policymakers, technologies, and the public to create adaptive and forward-looking regulation. I will quickly want to give us some case studies how technology and democracy are really well interplayed and the benefit that also ensue therefrom. Let me pick the first example from the United States. The US has historically been a leader in technological innovation, driven by a combination of public and private sector initiatives. Policies such as the Bayh-Dole Act, which allow universities and small businesses to own patents of federally funded research, have been instrumental in fostering innovation. The presence of institutions like Silicon Valley serves as a model of how a democratic environment can nurture technological ecosystem. The European Union Horizons Europe program is an example of how democratic governance can support innovation on a large scale. By funding cutting-edge research and fostering collaboration across member states, the EU demonstrates the potential of democratic institutions to drive technological progress. Singapore's Smart Nation initiative serves as a model for Nigeria by focusing on digital infrastructure, public-private partnership, and a supportive regulatory environment. Singapore had created a thriving tech ecosystem. Estonia has emerged as a leader in digital innovation with initiatives like e-residency and advanced e-governance systems. The country's commitment to digital inclusion and cybersecurity illustrate how a small democratic nation can become a powerhouse of technological innovation. Rwanda focused on ICT as a pillar of its development strategy, and they highlight the potential that is targeted at investment in technology. Rwanda's success in building tech hubs and promoting innovation can inspire similar initiative in Nigeria. And we also want to talk about my personal initiative, talking about the SAIL Innovation Lab. On a personal effort basis, promoting technological innovation in Nigeria, the SAIL Empowerment Foundation, co-founded by my wife and I, established SAIL Innovation Lab in Ikorodu. The key objective of this initiative is to take advantage of the opportunities inherent in the fourth industrial revolution to create employment, inspire grassroots innovations, and build partnership and network that drive economic prosperity for the youth and collaboratively solve significant social and business problems. Some of the programs offered at the SAIL Innovation Lab includes: we have tech talent development for both basic and advanced, where individuals with varied tech proficiencies are trained and prepared for in-demand jobs in special areas like blockchain technology, generative AI, digital marketing, data analytics, data science, game development, etc. We also have a SAIL Teachers Fellowship, where teachers in public schools are trained on the concept of inquiry-based learning and the use of modern technology to impact knowledge in our children. STEM for senior secondary school students, targeted at teenagers from 11 to 18, where students are trained on physical computing, 3D design, and the use of Arduino in prototyping. Startup Accelerator, where support and incubation is provided for youths who have innovative ideas to find product market fit and position them for growth through training. Mentoring and access to raise required funding for their various startups over a period of 6 months. The SAIL Innovation Lab is fully managed by Africa's foremost technology and innovation company, Co-Creation Hub, CC Hub. And all programs offered are free of charge to the participants to give equal opportunity to all. To date, over 9,000 participants have directly benefited from this initiative, with many more benefiting indirectly. Also, many of the graduates from SAIL program have gone on to secure job placement with top tech companies, while some have successfully set up their own tech startup and are doing very well. The way forward for Nigeria. Nigeria has a growing democracy with significant economic and demographic potential, stand at a crucial juncture. Embracing technological innovation is essential for addressing the country's numerous challenges and for driving sustainable development. As such, there is need for a comprehensive national innovation strategy that aligns with the renewed hope agenda of the President, as well as the sustainable development goals. The proposed strategy must define specific and measurable targets for technological innovation across various sectors, as well as facilitate collaboration between government, industry, and academia to leverage resources and expertise. The innovation strategy must also ensure that regulatory processes are streamlined to encourage investment in technology and innovation while ensuring compliance with international standards. Furthermore, it is critical to strengthen the intellectual property rights (IPR) regime in the country in order to foster innovation. In doing this, there is need to enhance legal framework by updating and enforcing IPR laws to protect inventors and innovators. There is also need to create awareness by educating stakeholders about the importance of IPR and how to secure and enforce their right. Providing accessible IPR registration and protection services, particularly for SME and startup, is also very crucial. Investing in education and skill development is another critical component of the proposed national innovation strategy. Nigeria must prioritize STEM education to build a skilled workforce capable of driving technological innovation. This can be achieved through implementing the following. Number one, updating teaching curriculum to include modern technology and innovation topics, investing in continuous professional development for teachers to improve the quality of STEM education. 3, encouraging partnership between educational institutions and tech companies to provide students with practical experiences. Increasing the number of technical and vocational training institutions across the country. Number 5, designing training programs in collaboration with industry stakeholders to ensure relevance. And number 6, developing apprenticeship program that allows students to gain hands-on experience. The importance of upscaling Nigerian digital infrastructure cannot be overemphasized. Expanding broadband accessibility, particularly in rural areas, creating innovation hubs and tech parks for startups and entrepreneurs across the country, and addressing energy challenges to ensure a reliable power supply for tech operators are all steps that can be taken in this regard. Initiatives such as SAIL Innovation Lab should be encouraged and replicated across the country in order to have a more far-reaching impact. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, creating opportunity for technological innovation in a democratic environment involves a multifaceted approach that includes supportive policies, investment in education and infrastructure, and proactive management of emerging threats. Democracies are uniquely positioned to harness the power of technology for the betterment of society, ensuring that advancements are inclusive, ethical, and aligned with public interest. It is therefore imperative that democratic society continue to foster environments where technological innovation can thrive. Nigeria's path is becoming a hub of technological innovation is a democratic environment requires concerted effort across multiple fronts. I must commend the 3 million tech talent scheme initiated by the current administration, spearheaded by the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, in collaboration with the Nigeria Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA. The ambition of the scheme to train 3 million Nigerians in advanced technology field by 2027 with a view to stimulating digital economy and positioning Nigeria as a global hub for tech talent is indeed laudable and a huge step in the right direction. Suffice it to say, therefore, that by enhancing policy framework, investing in education and infrastructure, supporting startup and addressing cybersecurity and ethical concern, Nigeria can create a more robust and thriving ecosystem for technological innovation. Embracing this strategy will not only drive economic growth, but also improve the quality of life for all Nigerians. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you for having the distinguished senator this morning.
Thank you so much. That was Mr. Deji Abisola, representing the Senator of Lagos East Senatorial District, who is our special guest of honor, Senator Adetokunbo Abiru. Please, sir, come over here. Is the president still around, sir? Okay. Okay. So I would like to have the Deputy President, Engineer Leye Kukoluyi, as well as the Vice President and Chairman of the Trade Promotion Board, Prince Abimbola Olashore, FCA, for the presentation of plaque. Thank you for clapping, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Yeah, the senator, you can say, well represented. And I said that he himself will be another senator in the near future. On behalf of the chamber, thank you very much for representing the senator. And you have to deliver this message to him. That actually we miss him, but we don't miss him. Oh. Right? Well, you are here. By next year, surely, we know that the senator will be part of us because we have the same purpose. We catch them young. We focus on the youth, and we are doing the same thing. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you very much, sirs. I'd like to quickly recognize the presence of some of our invited guests here this it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to recognize the presence of some of our invited guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I recognize Dr. Akim Onosoya, the head startup Lagos Innovate. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I'd also like to recognize the presence of Mr. Wale Owoeye, the MD CEO One Data Limited, who is represented here this afternoon by Mr. Stephen Albert. Lovely to see you, sir. I think I saw Mr. Stephen Albert earlier. Now, very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be moving on to the next item on our itinerary for today. But before we proceed, we have a rallying call. 10 times the expo. I'm not getting a response. 10 times the expo. 10 times the tech. Thank you very much. Our keynote speaker that will be speaking to us about the impact of emerging technologies on data protection is no other person than the National Commissioner and CEO of the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, who is the pioneer National Commissioner and CEO of the Nigeria Data Protection Bureau. He holds a doctorate degree in geology and planning from the University of Lagos and an advanced diploma in computer studies. He is a certified public-private partnership specialist and a PECB certified data protection officer. He has worked in the public sector for almost 30 years, thereby acquiring practical proficiency and thorough understanding of government operations in Nigeria and other countries. Representing Dr. Vincent Olatunji here today, I have Ms. Adama Isamade, Head of Legal Enforcement and Regulations at Nigeria Data Protection Commission, and she will be taking the presentation on the impact of emerging technologies in data protection. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ms. Adama Isamade. A round of applause for her, please, as she comes up stage for the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an awesome pleasure to represent the National Commissioner, CEO of Nigeria Data Protection Commission. It is no longer a bureau. It is now a full-fledged commission immediately after the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria assented to the Nigeria Data Protection Act. So quickly, I'll be speaking. I have very few minutes, so I'll be speaking on the impact of emerging technologies on data privacy. Because I'm in the presence of technocrats and technological experts and people that know what we are talking about basically in technology, I'll be assuming a lot of things, but I don't want to assume two things. The first is the difference between data protection and data privacy. So basically, when you say data protection, you're talking about the tools, the policies, and this is going to play a very key role in what we are doing in the technological space. What policies do you have in place to ensure that any technology that you're creating, you're manufacturing, you're authoring, you're co-authoring, whatever it is, are there policies in place to ensure that the data rights or the rights of the data subjects are well kept? The next thing I'll be talking about that I won't assume is data privacy. So data privacy is what rights do we have, me and you? So both of us can sit down in a space, and we are not the ones that made that technology, but we are going to be using it. A very good example is what every one of us has here, our phones. It's a technology that was done by someone. But what rights do you have to ensure who has access to that phone or not? What kind of things are you going to say? If I give my phone to somebody, am I going to say, you have access to it, and the next person, you do not have access to it? So those are the things I would not be assuming we know. Emerging technology. Emerging technology refers to innovative advancements or developments that have the potential to significantly change the way we live and work. You have a lot of examples, whether it's the AI, whether it's the 3D printing, which revolutionizes manufacturing by enabling rapid prototyping and customization. And of course, you have nanotechnology, which is probably not necessarily working well here in this side of the world, but it manipulates matter at the nanoscale to create new materials and devices with extraordinary properties. Next slide, please. Now we have the current landscape for emerging technologies. You have the AI for scientific discovery. You have PETs, which is the privacy enhancing technologies. You have ISCs, the integrated sensing and communication. Then immersive technologies, which I saw on one of the banners. You can see someone, yes, things like this. That's the VR, the AR. You have quantum computing, and you have blockchain technologies. Next slide, please. I'll quickly be going to the impact of emerging technologies on privacy. Remember what I said. Privacy is basically who has access to that data, while the data protection is what tools and policies you have in place to ensure or to restrict, people getting across to that data. The first impact emerging technology has on privacy is data breaches. With the rampant use of technology, we also know that there's a rampant abuse of rights of persons. So you use technology and you just feel, oh no, I can use it anyhow. And you always have a lot of things that can happen. And the first is data breaches. As more data is collected, automatically there's a risk of that data being breached or being interfered with. Now, unauthorized access to sensitive information can lead to a lot of things, whether it's financial loss, your identity theft, or even reputational damages. So a quick example we'll just look at is probably the banks. They tell you to, put in some details, and you put it in because you want to use your phone, or even the NIMC, where we have a whole lot of, you can, change your data, and they tell you use your app. But because and we'll all use it because we want things to be easy for us. Nobody wants to go and stand in queue in NIMC office. So we'll use the app. But what does that do? By the time it stores that data and it keeps it, there's a huge potential for breaches. The next is surveillance and tracking. Technologies like IoT devices and AI can enable extensive surveillance and tracking of individuals, often without explicit consent. And this can lead to a loss of privacy and autonomy. You also have data misuse, where people collect your data, but they don't use it for what they tell you they are going to be using it for. Then you have the lack of transparency, obviously. I tell you I want to use your data to provide a service for you. You're using my technology. But however, I would use that data that you give me for something else that you did not actually ask me to do. And while we may not look at this as, oh, it's a normal thing, I just want technology to help my life, you do not know the impact that has on you, either for now or for later. So because people always, or the creators of technology always want to see their products in the market, they always lack transparency procedures to ensure that the data that you're going to give to them afterwards is well kept. Then the next is regulatory challenges, and I'm sure that we all know what this is about. The government is saying do this. The people that are creating technologies are saying we want to do that. So there's always, a push and shove between the government, the policymakers, and those that actually use the service or actually produce those technologies. Next slide, please. We're going to be looking at a few case studies, which I'm sure most of us would have come across one way or the other. The first case study is smart home devices. Internet of Things devices like smart speakers, thermostats, security cameras, collect vast amounts of data. And then this data can be vulnerable to hacking or unauthorized access, leading to potential privacy breaches. For instance, a compromised smart camera would allow intruders to monitor a user's home. I don't know if we have ever heard of a case study here like this in Nigeria, but you can imagine how even your fridge is connected to Internet of Things, and everything in your house is a smart home. You can tell your Siri or whatever to play you a music, and it knows. That means it know you. So a very good example that I've heard of, probably due to research, is the technology can actually read your mood. And then and it helps you to determine the kind of songs that you need to be played so that it will relax you. Now, if that technology, or if your access to that technology is breached, what that means is that you can be tracked, your health can be tracked. If your health is tracked with just someone knowing your moods and knowing, so somebody, a pharmaceutical company can come to you and say, we know that you have bouts of depression, and then starts funneling adverts to you on their experimental drugs. You see how making life easy can actually make life harder for you. The next thing is facial recognition technology. This is widely used in security and surveillance. Facial recognition systems can track individuals in public spaces without their consent. And of course, it raises significant privacy concerns, as it can lead to constant monitoring and profiling. I'll give you a very real example of this. So at the Commission, we're presently dealing with a case of CCTV camera. Now, the law says that when it's for domestic purposes, that you can do some things with data. However, what we are trying to determine is how private is a CCTV camera in an estate, and what is the parameters for it looking outside the estate to probably see the gates. Remember, when you're passing through any estate, you're not coming to that estate, you're going on your own. Yet, that camera can track you. So we kept asking ourselves in the Commission, how do we limit what we can actually work on and what we cannot? How do you tell someone that your facial recognition technology, even though you want it for the safety of your residents, is also going to be impinging on someone else's data rights? The next is the health monitoring apps. Wearable devices and health apps collect sensitive health data such as heart rate, sleep patterns, and physical activity. Now, if this data is not adequately protected, it can be accessed by unauthorized parties, leading to privacy violations and potential misuse of personal health information. So there was a case that just occurred last year about an app. It's an ovulation app, and it's called Primum. And basically what it did was that many persons, a very good example is your wristwatch. How many of us are wearing smart wristwatches here? Okay. And I'm sure that because we are now very, very lazy, we actually also put on the Bluetooth on the smartwatch so that you can see when your calls are coming in, right? So it's not just taking your BP and your heart rate and not just telling you wristwatch that is supposed to tell you just time. It's telling you your heart rate, it's telling you your BP, and then it's helping you to answer calls. Just imagine what happens when that technology is breached and when the data you have given them free of charge. Now, when you connect your phone to it, even your phone calls and your messages and your Facebook, everything is connected. So somebody is just harvesting data free of charge from you, and you have no idea why. So basically, your health monitoring apps can also cause a whole lot of damage to you as a data subject. Next slide, please. As people that actually, do this tech, there are things you need to consider. And the last speaker spoke extensively on it. He talked about ethical considerations. And I'm just going to reiterate what he said. For us, when you want to do your technology and you want to use this technology or even create these technologies, there are questions you need to ask yourself. Who owns the data that is generated by these emerging technologies? How do you ensure that the users understand why you're collecting their data and how do they consent to it? So let's not even go to the high-tech technologies. So I come to your website. Do you have a privacy policy in your website? Does it tell me that anytime I visit, let's use, for example, the LCCI, anytime I visit your website, probably for information, can I see that you're actually deliberate and intentional enough to show that any data I leave with you is going to be stored perfectly. It's going to be stored and you're going to take into consideration what I want you to use my data for. Another good thing is, how do you collect consent? So is it that before I come into your website, you just tell me that before you use this website, you must do this, if not? So is it by fire or by force? Or is it that I understand exactly what I'm doing before I put in any information that I want? You know, sometimes when we carry out investigations just randomly on websites, we just see how you just want an information. Let's, for example, now, I'm not saying this has happened in LCCI. I'm going to use LCCI because this is where I am. So I visit LCCI website and I want to know the president, I want to know the tenure, the structure. And before I do that, you tell me I must drop my name, my number, my email. Why? It's the information I need. So why do I have to pay so much price by releasing my data just because I want to get an information from you? An information that is meant to be public, by the way. So these are the things you need to consider when you're actually developing any technology. Even as basic as coming to visit you on your website, you need to take into consideration things like privacy policy, things like your cookie policy. Is it automatic? Is it a must that I must say yes to advertising, analytical, and all that? Or you give me options. The next is, how do you make data processing activities clear to users? And you can do this through your privacy policy. I am going to use your data for so, and so. Does it stop there? If I say I'm going to use your data just to see where you go to on my website, is that where it stops? Or tomorrow, somebody like Google can come to you and say, I see that you have a whole lot of database and I see that you have a lot of people that visit your website. So can you give me their data? And then you'll be like, oh, for what? You're asking questions because in your mind you're saying, no, I want to do the right thing. And you say for what? And I say, no, we just want to give users of your platform 10,000 naira each. And you're like, oh, that's a good thing. So when I'm promoting it, I'll say people that use my website, you're able to get 10,000 from Meta. But is that why you collected that data from me? What makes you think I want to be involved in that kind of thing? So you need to ask yourself questions like this. And the next is, how do you avoid biases and discrimination in AI algorithms? So recently, the government of Nigeria has been in talks with, on a regional level, we've been in talks, stakeholder talks basically, on how LLMs can be done in a way that will take into consideration our own uniqueness basically. So all the LLMs we have here, they're all biased generally because first off, if you go to YouTube and you want them to translate, they will not even understand what you're saying. Your accent is already a no-go area. So when you have LLMs like this that do not even understand or take into cognition your own biases or do not take into consideration your own uniqueness, is already a bias against you and is already discriminating against you. So at a regional level, we are looking at how we can come together and either it's create your own unique LLMs or call co-creators together that are in the country, are in this region, and see how they can work together to develop something. For organizations, these are your best practices that you need to know. The first is incorporate privacy measures from the start, and this means privacy by design and privacy by default. So if I'm going to go into any technology, or if I'm going to make or create any technology, what do I do? Do I take privacy first, or am I taking profits first? You need to determine, you need to choose what you want to do. But in choosing, you can actually harmonize. Because if you tell yourself that you play the long game. If you tell yourself that I'm not just looking for the short-term profit, but I'm looking for trust and confidence, that means in 10 years' time, if persons are still using my technology, they are going to be using it because they are confident and they trust that the data I give to these people are not going to be used for anything other than what it's meant to be used for. The next is inform users about data privacy rights and protections. And you can do this in various ways. You don't need to spend so much money to carry out data protection and privacy initiatives. Even as you're developing, you're going to be developing with a whole lot of people because no man is an island, obviously. So if I'm going to be having these co-creators together, when we are having our brainstorming sessions, what do we say there? Do we just say, okay, how is this technology going to benefit us? Or are we even telling them, put into consideration the fact that people are going to be using it, humans are going to be using this, and we want to protect their privacy? You need to ask yourself these questions. You need to sit down in the room, and it's a very easy thing. I can speak with you and just telling you my name and 5 minutes discussion, I have incorporated data privacy and protection because it's very easy. It's an everyday thing. I can tell you, you want to say, okay, give me your number. And you know sometimes people just give you their phones, right? And in my talk with you, I'll just laugh over it. I'll tell you, you don't know that if I press 1 or 2 now, I'll collect data from your phone and you will not know. This is how you can incorporate data protection and privacy discussions into it. Another best practice for organization is prepare for potential breaches. No technology is 100%. And even as the Data Protection Commission, we know that breaches will occur. So we are not saying that you should build a system, 100% perfect solution. No, we are saying that whatever you're doing, do to the best of your ability and then some. So prepare for it. You should have things like your incident report mechanisms in place to ensure that in the event that that breach happens or when it happens, you're well prepared for it. Next slide, please. Okay, so before I round up, I'd like to say 2 things. The first is that we are the regulatory body for Nigeria data protection, for data protection, and that is the Nigeria Data Protection Commission. We have an act, which is the NDP Act, that's Nigeria Data Protection Act 2023, and it addresses challenges posed by emerging technologies and their impact of data protection. Next slide, please. There are things you need to also consider when you are making all these technologies. What are your principles for processing data? What are the lawful bases for processing such data? Next slide. What are the lawful bases for processing such data? What are our legal basis for processing such data? You have consent, obviously, the contract, legal obligation, vital interest, public interest, and legitimate interest. Next slide. The last thing you need to think about when you want to develop technologies is your technical and organizational measures. What have you put in place? Remember I said, what policies do you have on ground? What tools do you have on ground? So this is where you see your technical measures, which are the encryption, access control, and then your organizational measures. For more information, we have a booth here on this side. You can get as much information as you want on Nigeria Data Protection Commission. Thank you.
Please come back. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Miss Adama Isamade on behalf of Dr. Vincent Olatunji. A round of applause one more time. Please, I'd like to have, for the plaque presentation, Mrs. Victoria Onofowokon Obadino to present this plaque to Dr. Victor Olatunji. Or rather, to Ms. Adama Isamade on behalf of Dr. Victor Olatunji.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the President of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and the Chairman of Trade Promotion, we present this to you. Thank you for coming, and we hope to see you next year.
you so much, Ma. Thank you. That was the head of legal enforcement and regulations at the NDPC, Ms. Adama Isamade, talking about the impact of emerging technologies on data protection. Right about now, ladies and gentlemen, if you were here yesterday, you would know that at some point we always have live exhibition sessions, you know, where we're just seated and would go around on an exhibition tour. So we will do that very quickly because we need to do a couple of them so that we can have our next panel session immediately after. The exhibition tour group, Eze, Mr. CY, I hope you all are ready because we'll just do that for another 5-10 minutes and then we go into the next panel session. The next panel session, ladies and gentlemen, centers on cybersecurity. We're looking at cybersecurity in the digital age. We're looking at challenges and solutions. We are looking at how to ensure that, you know, you do not end up with data breaches, just as Ms. Adama just mentioned rightly to us. And for that session, I would like to just mention the following people to please start prepping because immediately after the exhibition tour, we would have the panel session. Mr. Smith Osemeke, the CEO, Unitellers International Limited. Mrs. Aderonke Adeyegbe, the CEO, Commercial Limited. Dr. Akim Onosoya, Head Startup, Lagos Innovate. Mr. Wale Oweye, the MD CEO, One Data Limited. Mrs. Busayo Balogun, Mr. Abiodun Sonny, please start getting prepped because shortly after the exhibition round, we'll be having a panel session.